Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lessons Learned from. Today is Rocky 3. So, Lessons Learned from Rocky 3. Continuing on in the Rocky's journey of growth. He actually never finished how the movie ended in Rocky 2. Guess what, guys? Spoiler alert. He won. So he faced he dealt with circumstances, He took his second chance, he maximized it finally. He got out of his head and he realized he had a reason to fight. And then ultimately, he stepped up to the challenge, trained his hardest, and defeated Apollo Creed. Okay? That's where that film left off. Now, Rocky 3. So now Rocky 3 is the champion. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. I believe he was heavyweight. And he's taking on fights, and he's starting. He's just annihilating everybody who's challenging him, and he's starting to realize that it's a little too easy. He accumulates a massive amount of wealth. A few years have passed since Rocky 2, so his son is a little bit older. He has a mansion now, and all, etc., etc. Okay, he's living the dream. This is a critical point of success. One that I obviously have not experienced myself yet, but I can see how powerful it is. He went from the underdog to thinking life was, whatever, he didn't care, to now he's made it. He's the best in the world at his craft, boxing. He has a monument in his honor. He has a massive house. He has a son. He has a wife, he takes care of his brother-in-law, blah blah, cars, Hugo Boss sweatshirts. I always remember that. I think that was Rocky 4. But anyway, he's living the dream. And what he doesn't realize is Mick, his manager, is actually giving him easy opponents because he sees Rocky as having gone soft in his championship, through his championship. Then a nobody, no-name man, played by Mr. T. His name in the film is Clubber Lang. Rocky 3, Clubber Lang. And he's always keeps calling him out from the crowd, saying, "Oh, take a real challenge," because he doesn't have a manager, so he's trying to do it himself. Take a real challenge. You're scared. Blah blah blah. And then Mick kept dodging it, and Rocky's like, "Why won't you let me fight him?" And then eventually he got it out of him that you're not ready, you're gone soft, this guy will kill you, he's hungry, you're not hungry anymore. Okay? So, and there's a promotional fight with Hulk Hogan that has no impact or importance to the movie at all. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. So, eventually, he tells Mick, listen, let me fight Clubber Lang, I need to prove that I am still the champion. So, he says, okay, you sure? Yeah. So, he doesn't take him seriously. He pulls the same moves that Apollo Creed pulled on him the first time they fought each other. He doesn't take it seriously. He thinks that this guy's as much as he's all talk, he's like, yeah, I'll still win. So his training wasn't taken seriously. Again, media kept coming in and taking pictures while he's training, and he's laughing and going with the flow, and he's not in that hunger mode. So the fight actually happens. And there's a confrontation before the fight. Ultimately, Mick ends up dying because of it. I don't know if this is really important to the story, but it helps as a motivational thing for Rocky. But then he just gets his lights kicked in. Mick's basically dying in the change room. Rocky has to fight this guy, not ready. This guy's hungry as hell, training the whole time, as if his life depended on it, which is how you should treat it in general. And Rocky got his stuff kicked in, done. He got totally annihilated. Something that was never seen in the Rocky films. All you would really see was either if he lost, he went the full fight and didn't go down easy, or then he won. Then you find for the first time you see him lose in an official match. He doesn't defend his title. So he's all broken, he's all whatever. His trainer died. Everything kind of fell apart now. He still has his family, but he's all lost. Now he's lost. And that's in terms of us, now this is where lessons are kicking in terms of us and Quest. If we start getting, that's where there's a huge fear there. We get to a point and we don't want to lose it, and if we do lose it, we become lost. Okay? But getting back to the film, so Apollo Creed comes to teach Rocky, basically, you know what, you got to go back to the basics. Basically, he teaches him you got to go back to the basics. And he teaches him his style and how he learned and the foundations and the importance of not forgetting that and tying to us. See what I'm doing now? I hope that I don't get an inflated ego ever when I do make it and become successful, because I would, if I forgot all this that I'm putting into all these now, then if I have to go back and relearn it, I would have to do that. But I'm saying, like, this, the value of this is a lesson I hope I'll never forget, and I don't plan to ever forget. So now he's learning the basics, maybe in a different way that he wasn't used to, but he's learning the basics, but he's still going, like, he's training, he's like, you know what, tomorrow. And that's where that saying was, Apollo Creed was like, there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, Stallion. So obviously something's going on in his head, because he's not training, even without distractions, he's not into it. He's just like, blah. And then eventually he has a conversation with his wife where she says, you know what, something's wrong with you. What's going on? And then she finally gets it out of him, and it's a huge, pivotal, like, emotional scene, because he was like, he yells, because I'm afraid. That's why. And throughout the training and stuff, they show, like, scenes of Clubber Lang punching him in the face, like he's having, like, these flashbacks. And he just yells, like, because I'm afraid. And I'm like, because I'm afraid! Like, something like that. So, fear. Something I've talked about in great depth. He has now another problem. He has to conquer a fear. Well, anyway, long story short, he gets it all sorted out. Once he realized that it was a fear, and or he acknowledged it and talked about it with his wife, and she kind of gave him the boost and all that. I forgot what she said to really inspire him, but he kind of came back with the fire, and the fire's back now. I'm facing my fear. And then he just totally destroyed Clubber Lang. That was probably one of my favorite of the end fights, because he just, like, he conquered his fear so much, that he's, like, in the fight telling Clubber Lang, come on, hit me, like, he's, like, telling him to hit him, letting him hit him, so that the other guy, Clubber Lang, would get tired. So from fear of getting, like, literally getting hit, losing everything he had, failing, he conquered it so much so that he was like, hit me. And symbolically, that's like, nah, you can't bring me down anymore. So, I don't know, a lot of people, I don't know if people like Rocky 3 or not. I don't know the flavor or the feel. That was one that I really liked. Not one of my favorites because of that aspect, like the whole, conquering the fear part of it, and I like those kind of stories. Weirdly enough, that it's a person who did make it, and then they lost everything, and then they got to do it again. That's, I think, a pivotal part of success. I think you make it. Most people keep it, but I feel like, from what I know and what I see and what I observe, people that make it, lose it, and then lose it, end up making it way more after. Because when people make it, they think, I'm good, and then they stay there. But when they lose it, whatever it may be, then it's like, oh, I gotta step my game up. Somewhere I lost it along the way. So I gotta go back to basics, do it again, get better. And this time I know that I can't treat it like it's something I'll never lose. And then you end up getting even better. So that kind of happens, right? The benefit of having made it is the bounce back, if you're so determined, is probably and generally usually faster, because you've gone through all the first struggle. So you have that framework, you have that reference already. So that's the lessons from Rocky 3. So first lesson, if you think you've made it, be weary, because you could lose it. And don't be acting like, oh, I'm scared I'm going to lose it. Don't overestimate your abilities, and don't underestimate the little guy. Don't forget the basics of your foundations. Never neglect those. Other lesson is conquer your fear. Deal with your fear. I've talked about that a lot already, so I didn't want to touch on it too much. And a last little tidbit is a little acronym conveniently that I heard today, or I've seen today. Fear can either stand for one of two things. How you deal with fear. How you deal with fear can stand for one of two things. Both are acronyms. So you can either fear, you can forget everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. That's up to you. So that's it. That's it, guys. Have a good day, and let's keep growing together. Take care.